Inside New Orleans Sports with Eric Asher is underwritten by...
At Villeries Florist, we deliver the magic of flowers 7 days a week to the North Shore and South Shore in the New Orleans area. Whether it's for birthday parties, baby celebrations, Villeries provides colorful floral displays for all. With a store full of fresh-cut flowers, exotic tropical flowers, orchids, roses, and even fruit baskets, our goal is to make your vision a reality. Villeries Florist, proudly serving Louisiana since 1969.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business, 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
C&C Drugs is a family-owned pharmacy that's been serving Southeast Louisiana for over 50 years. Whether you need help taking care of an elderly family member, a growing child, or even a pet, C&C provides patient-centered care for your entire family. C&C Drugs, large enough to serve you, small enough to know you. Locations in Mandeville and Araby.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Eric Asher. Over the next hour, you know what we do. We cover all the home teams, Saints, LSU, Tulane, Pelicans. We'll talk about NIL, also the transfer portal. Breaking it down for us, two of the best we have in the state. Garland, Gillen of Fox 8 Sports. Jim Derry of the Attitude Podcast and Noel.com. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us as always. Garland, we always like to start off talking a little bit about what you guys are involved in. Tell us about all the great programming over at Fox 8.
Yeah, right now we're in the middle of spring football with Tulane and LSU. The Saints draft is right around the corner, so we're getting really heated up on that. And mercifully, the Pelican season ends next Sunday. So we're getting to the backstretch of that. But Friday night, they're playing the Lakers on Fox 8 at 9:30. Right. So if you want to watch Luka and LeBron go against who's left on the team that's not on the IR, you know?
Yeah.
So,
right.
yeah.
You know better than I do.
Yeah, no. It's a lot of players that are shut down for the season, including Big Z.
Right. Tell us all about, again, everything you're involved in social media. He's a social media savant.
Yeah. I mean, got Garland Avenue, Jim Derry's favorite show on the internet.
Great social media
the kids love it when I post it on TikTok, and got football food. I'm working on something else that might come to be in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then everything on fox8live.com, and then Sunday night we wrap it all up on Final Play. Final Bet on Thursday nights. I might have a pretty good guest. You might know him.
I got it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things on here, but there's some things that we get really in the weeds on gambling that you don't, that like only people that like follow
degenerate stuff.
Yeah, but it'll be good. So yeah.
Jim, welcome back to the show.
I just want to know how I got the chair that's like flat on the ground, and Garland's like 2 feet taller than me right now.
You move the chair up.
Oh, okay. I'm like my knees are like touching the ground. I'm like looking up at Garland. I haven't looked up at Garland. I mean, I probably.
We're the same height. What are you talking about?
Okay, all right. I was wondering that. That's what happens when you get older. You just start going,
Yeah, you shrink. You do.
Going like this.
You shrink this way, but not this way.
Oh, definitely not this way.
That's for sure.
Bigger this way. That's what happens. Look, the Attitude Podcast, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to plug it.
Please do.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. Sometimes we have on the most fantastic guests in and around the city of New Orleans, like these two gentlemen to my right, make guest appearances. But we're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can always catch us after the fact on YouTube. It's Attitude with a D in front of it, and you can find it wherever you find your podcast as well.
And Jim's with me on the radio show every Monday at 4:35, which is always a hoot. So you got to check that out.
We had fun
as well.
this week.
Yeah, we always do. It's always fun. All right, guys, let's start off with. Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Kellen Moore in his maiden voyage as the Saints head coach. Met with the media this week up in Palm Beach at the owners' meeting. Garland, I'll take you first. Anything that came out of his conversation that you took from what he had to say, or was it pretty bland to you? Anything?
The biggest thing, and it made my GM and news director very excited.
But not you.
Yeah, not me, but my general manager and news director who write our checks are really excited that the Saints are coming back to New Orleans for training camp. I personally am very sad because I had a great time out in Newport Beach. Over the years covering training camps and different locales, this was the best one we ever covered. I went to White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia for 3 years. Jackson was miserable hot. We had good times at nighttime. Nichols was bad too. It was extremely hot over there. So this was the best one. So that was like one of the main things. Everything else, he has said the same soundbite almost verbatim about Derek Carr the day he got hired, the day he had that media meetup, and then on Tuesday at the NFL annual meeting about Derek Carr's a winner. We can't wait to have him on the roster, all that. He's like saying the exact same thing. He's very quick in his sound bites. He's in and out. Doesn't give you a lot.
Very rehearsed, almost.
Very rehearsed.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you want to, I mean, maybe he said that he likes Fuaga, left tackle, and Penning, a right tackle. Maybe that was a little other nugget.
That's it, yeah.
And I would say one other thing is that he wants a distinct number 2 quarterback going in. Like, we're not going to deal with this. Is Jake Haener number 2? Is Spencer Rattler number 2? It seems like he's going to make it very clear when we go into the football season. It's this guy, this guy, this guy, and that's it.
What did you take from it?
Does anybody care who's number 2, first off?
It was highly debated. It was highly debated.
I mean, okay, you can highly debate it, but whoever's number 2, I mean, if they have to go to number 2, whoever it is, I don't care if it's neither one of these guys and they get a free agent or they draft someone in the draft. Whoever's number 2, if it isn't Derek Carr playing football, the Saints have just slightly above 0.0 chance to win. So who cares? I mean, but
there is a when you talk about the possibility of again looking at the backup quarterback spot. Last year they went with 2 rookies, or 2 guys that didn't have experience. I think there's a case for having a backup with experience, although I don't know if they'll go in that direction because, again, at least the front office seems like, again, they have an affinity for Spencer Rattler.
I'm going to say something very unpopular to people that are probably watching this show. I don't think that either one of the 2 backups, well, there's no one that loves Jake Haener, so that's fine. But I don't think either one of these 2 guys that are currently backup quarterbacks on this team have any chance to be NFL starting quarterbacks. So you're wasting your time with them. So to your point, I would rather see them go out and get a washed-up free agent that can come in and play for a couple games, which would be very unpopular if you would cut a guy like Spencer Rattler, because there are people out there that really think that a guy that went 0-6 or 0-7, depending on how many games you want to count of his, that's not enough of a time frame to see that he can't be a starting quarterback. I disagree. I don't think he can be a starting quarterback. I would rather see them do something like that. However, I don't think there's anyone out there that moves a needle enough to make that big of a difference in the future of the Saints at quarterback, unless they go get a Jackson Dart or a Shedeur Sanders in the draft, which I don't think they're going to do. Unless they do that, the future of the future quarterback is not on this team and won't be on this team until probably next year at the earliest. So why does it even matter? I just think that whoever goes, if Derek Carr gets hurt and is out for any significant time, it's no different than last year. The Saints are going to lose games, and they're going to be in bad shape. And I mean, some people want them to lose games. So I mean, that's kind of where we are with that.
What'd you take?
He is right. 0.0 chance of winning if Derek Carr's out. I mean, because they did go 0-7 last year.
That 0.0 thing is contagious, by the way. Say I got other people saying it.
0-7 last year. I have no faith in Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener being starting quarterbacks in the NFL going forward. There were some people that were drinking like Rattler juice, and I didn't understand it. I know they got Ben DiNucci on the roster right now. And then, man, I'm looking forward to the first day of the draft, like getting over with, because the Saints drafting Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart talk.
Drafting up to get Cam Ward.
Dude,
I mean,
it is like it's crazy town talk right now. I don't. If Derek Carr is you're going to be your quarterback this year, and you think you can get the playoffs with him, I don't understand why you're drafting a quarterback at 9. Like you need a weapon at 9 that's going to play right away. You need a plug-and-play guy.
You do.
You need a Tyler Warren. I did see there was some Ted McMillan below back, some video 2 years ago. He said he doesn't watch film a lot, and he's not a big football guy, but he can still I still think he can blow the top off of a defense and get down there. I think he's really good. So I think you need a playmaker right away. And why are you're gonna draft the Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, sit on the bench? Like I mean, I guess some of those guys on Airline Drive think they got like all the time in the world to turn this thing around. Kellen Moore, I'm sure, don't feel like that.
I don't think any of them think that. Just I mean, that's the one problem I have with well, I have lots of problems with social media. The number one problem I have with social media is people can say all these things, and then I have someone like my 27-year-old son calling me on the phone and saying, "Did you see this on X today?" I'm like, "Yeah, who is this guy? I never heard of him, but he's on there. He's got 20,000 followers. It's got to be true." I'm like, 20,000 followers ain't jack. Who cares? So I mean, just because Joe Blow said something on X and he made something up, and he's getting more followers because he's making something up because the people who hate Derek Carr say, "This sounds great. Let's do this. I'm going to follow this guy. I love it." I mean, that's why these people get followers, because they just say whatever. But if it doesn't make sense, it isn't true. And it doesn't make sense that the Saints are going to trade up to get Cam Ward. It doesn't make sense that Shedeur Sanders will fall to 9.
Agreed.
And it doesn't make sense that the Saints would pick Jackson Dart at 9 when he's probably should be somewhere in the 20s.
Right.
Nor do they really need that right now, because they're probably tied to Derek Carr. Close your ears if you don't want to hear this. Probably tied to Derek Carr through 2026.
It's the truth.
So the bridge at quarterback is Derek Carr. The future at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints is not Derek Carr, and he's not on this roster, and probably won't be for at least another year.
You agree with that?
I thought we were done with Derek Carr after last season.
I told you we weren't. You didn't want to believe it.
I mean, I can't not say that the Jim's wrong. Derek Carr is not going to be back. I mean, if they actually do some damage this year, actually win some games. I mean, Kellen Moore is supposed to be this offensive genius, right? That's what we all heard. Doug Nussmeier's a quarterback whisperer. He's one of the best in the game. If you believe everything, maybe they can turn around. Now, if you look at the over/under win total, it's at 6.5. There's a lot of people that are doubters right now.
Even if the doubters are right, the point, though, Garland, is the Saints aren't going to bring in a rookie head coach who's 36 years old and set him up to fail. And to do anything but have Derek Carr on this roster with how much money they have to eat, they won't be able to go out and get anyone. They're not going to go use a pick in this draft. There's no quarterback in this draft except maybe Cam Ward, in my opinion, and probably their opinion too, who can be an NFL quarterback. If you're asking for Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, you just hate Derek Carr that much that you're just trying to will it into existence. It doesn't make sense. And look, you can say whatever you want about the Saints and hate Mickey Loomis too and involve him on everything, but the Saints aren't going to do something that doesn't make sense. And that doesn't make sense, which is why they're not going to draft a quarterback.
At all? Any round?
No, I mean, maybe later they'll waste another pick.
As they should.
I think they should draft a quarterback.
I think you said on the show the other night.
Yeah,
didn't you?
I don't think they're going to, but at least it's.
And I agree with you, Garland.
It's feasible that they could later, but not on day 1 or 2.
No, right. No, but that's what he was saying on the show the other night.
If Quinn Ewers drops to the fourth round, that's kind of tasty in the 4th round for the New Orleans.
You watch Texas football as much as anyone I know.
I do watch a lot of games.
Do you think Quinn Ewers is an NFL quarterback? After what you saw last year.
But I think if you have a quarterback guru.
Steve Sarkisian is his coach, who I think is this offensive mastermind, in my opinion. And if you play like that, there were times when I'm like, please put Arch in for their sake. I felt bad for it. I don't care about Texas one way or the other. Yeah. It got so bad at times last year. I'm like, they were so good that they got past how bad Quinn Ewers was. I just don't think, it's possible, but I doubt it. I think that I think the most likely scenario is they go into this season with Spencer Rattler as their 2, or Ben DiNucci, or whatever. It's not going to be.
You saw what he did with Jalen Hurts at the Eagles. Maybe a Riley Leonard late, 6th round.
That I don't have a problem with as much. But you don't find starting quarterbacks. Very, very, very rarely do you find a starting quarterback in the weeds down in the 5th and 6th round. Hence, Spencer Rattler. The Saints aren't smarter than a 5th grader. Why Spencer Rattler is drafted in the 5th round? Because 31 other teams didn't think he'd ever be a starting quarterback, and the Saints say, "Oh, we'll give him a shot," because they're playing in la-la land the last few years.
Yeah, I have no problem with
But yes, they may draft one later on if they want to try.
I like a flyer on a quarterback every year, just one.
And I agree with that. You said that the other night, and I agree. I agree. You should at least try to bring somebody in.
We know what we have now, so I don't have necessarily a problem with if you want to try to draft another 5th or 6th rounder and just throw him in there like we've been doing. Ian Book, Spencer Rattler, Jay Kaner. You want to keep doing this? Sure. It doesn't work, but if you want to go grab one, why not?
So, at 9, if they stay at 9, positions that you think that they may want to draft.
I think if they do anything, and I've said this on your show before, on the radio show at least, I think if they do anything but one of 3 things, I think they're foolish. And I think they probably will, just getting the grass. I think if they do anything but trade down, draft Ashton Genty, or draft an offensive tackle, I think they're foolish. That's my opinion. I think that there's a 50-50 chance that they do something other than that. I understand where Garland's coming from. I don't have a problem with Teteroa McMillan. I think he's a fantastic receiver. I think he's a game changer. I think he's going to be in this league for a long time. Tyler Warren is not Brock Bowers, but is he a first-round pick? I just don't think that's what the Saints should be doing right now at that spot, but I hear you. So I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem, but they've got to draft offense or they've got to trade down. They need to have something that's a difference maker. And what do they need most on offense? In my opinion, they need to protect the quarterback. And Teteroa McMillan doesn't protect the quarterback. Colin Warren isn't going to be drafted to protect the quarterback, even though he probably could. I think they need to go offensive line.
Garland?
Oh.
It's not sexy.
I know. I mean, yes, they're addicted to drafting offensive linemen and defensive ends.
Right.
You know,
Just because you've done it before and it hasn't worked, it doesn't mean just because you have to do it. You know, just because you've taken medicine for your cancer and the doctor says we have a different kind of medicine and we want to try you on, but these other medicines haven't worked, but we want to try you on this medicine, doesn't mean you shouldn't do it because it may save your life. I mean, the Saints need offensive linemen.
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. One you brought up about the other day, the head coach at the NFL annual meeting. One other thing, somebody asked him about Taysom Hill, and he was very, subversive. As he didn't really want to answer it. You know, he's
Avoiding the subject.
Yeah, that's something we don't know.
Right.
We don't know what his conditions are. No one has seen him since the injury, so that's why I've been kind of pushing for a Tyler Warren because he is like the next Taysom Hill, the next Swiss Army knife. So, Kellen
Spent
Moore.
$30 million on Jawan Johnson, though. I'm not saying I like Jawan Johnson.
Yeah,
But they just spent $30 million on him.
That's a head scratcher. But Tyler Warren can do different things. He can play H-back. He can play receiver. He can play tight end. So.
Did we ever see Dalton Holker?
Well, that was what he was supposed to be running for, right?
I mean, I thought he was going to get a chance.
Right.
He never got a chance.
And we don't.
Maybe that was the media hype.
Right.
And we don't also know with Foster Moreau when he's going to return.
Right.
So you could have two guys that play tight end, both not contributing at the front end of the season.
I am one of those guys, again, that would like to see offense or defensive linemen. They've got to get better up front in terms of stopping the run on defense. And yes, I have no faith in Trevor Penning at the right tackle position. So again, I believe they have to draft an offensive lineman. Is it offensive lineman or is it skill position players? Lineman and skill position players for you?
Well, there's a hole right now at left guard, and some people would say there might be a hole at right tackle in Trevor Penning. I think you're kind of locked in to Eric McCoy at center, even though he's injury prone.
Right.
You got Cesar Ruiz at right guard. So I could see them. I know they brought in a few guys that could possibly play left guard. I mean, everybody's been talking about Will Campbell is a fun name.
I just don't think he drops to 9. Do you?
I don't know.
I think he or Membu drops to 9, and I think that either one of those guys solves the Saints' problem. I do think one of them gets picked before the Saints pick at 9, but I think Membu or Campbell will be there when the Saints draft.
Which to me, again, you make a move on. Also, I like Walker out of Georgia as well.
I'll tell you
but
that.
I don't think he gets to 9.
No, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to get to 9. But I will tell you this: if the Saints pass on Membu or Campbell, the Bears are licking their chops at 10. The Bears are like, please let that offensive lineman slip, because I promise you that's where they're going to take it.
That's what they're doing right now. They're revamping their whole offensive line.
They may trade up in front of the Saints to get offensive talent. That would not surprise me at all.
Defensively, they want to go to a 3-4. I think that's going to be a 2-year process. Garland, your thoughts?
Well, Godshaw they brought is going to be in the middle,
Right.
and I'm intrigued to see what Cam Jordan's going to help playing this, because he's going to be back for another year. So, and they have a lot of edge guys. I'm intrigued to see, so if you have Godshaw in the middle, what are you going to do with Brzee? Like, that's something like that. I'm intrigued to see how long this is going to take.
Middle linebacker.
Brzee?
Yeah, I know he's a big dude. I know it's kind of a weird spot, but I think the way that
Mario in middle linebacker.
I know, but you're talking about an extra guy. I just think that Brzee, first of all, Brzee needs to be in there. I thought he was the most improved player last year. You bring up Brzee.
But can he play a defensive end in a 3-4?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, and you got
you
just traded for Godshaw.
Right.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's a weird one where you don't know where to put him. That's why I'm asking, can he play middle linebacker? I mean, Demario Davis is not going to play every down like he's been playing every down. I just don't think he can anymore. Is he 37, 38 years old? And I think that Cam, you talk about Cam, I mean, I hate to say this, but Cam's going to be kind of a specialist. I think he's going to come in on third and longs, and that's what he's going to play a lot of. I think you're going to see him go down to probably 30 to 40% of snaps. I think DeMario Davis is probably going to be a 60 to 70% snap guy instead of
who plays in his place?
I think
honestly, what do you have? What do you have behind? You have nothing behind.
I think
them
you
right
turn Brzee into kind of like a hybrid linebacker / pass rusher. I mean, I don't know. It's a 3-4 is a weird defense. They would have never drafted Brzee in it if they had a 3-4.
No way. Right.
So, but I think he has the talent to be able to do a lot of different things. Again, he's a big guy, so he doesn't really fit the mold of what a middle linebacker would fit. But I think you kind of have to find a way.
He's an interior pass rushing specialist.
You have to find a way to get him on the field more. And I thought that the Saints actually didn't put him on the field enough. I don't know what his play percentage was last year or snap.
He got crushed by the run.
But I thought he improved, though. I mean, crushed is a little tough. I thought he was. I thought
it was going.
Crushed a little tough. Crushed a little tough. Well, yeah, that's a little crazy for me to say tough.
Exactly.
Say anybody's being tough on anyone, but I think that's a little. I just think that he has improved so much from day one, and I didn't like the pick. I thought the Saints needed an offensive lineman 2 years ago when they drafted him with that whatever number it was in the first round, 20 something. What was it, like 21, 22 something?
Oh. I didn't know we were doing math today.
Okay, sorry.
I'm kidding.
Del Sal and Shaw together equals 0.
I'm kidding.
But I'm just, so from the time they drafted him to now, even though I didn't like the pick, I think there's no question he's the most improved pick, and they need to find a way to get him in there and whatever that is, and play more than 40, 50% of the snaps. That's just my opinion.
Garland, make sense of the Brandon Cooks signing for me, can you? I mean, I'm just being honest here.
Well, you know what? Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are injury prone.
Agreed.
So maybe they're like, hey, if we bring another guy who fits the exact same bill, is just older than those other two, like between the three of those guys, maybe 2 of them will be healthy throughout the entire season. There's no way that all 3 of those guys are going to be healthy the entire season. So I'm guessing they're just playing the numbers that, hey, like only 2 of these guys are going to make it through the entire season. So maybe that's why they did it. They still need a big receiver.
They had one in Valdez Scantling. He signed for like $4 million. $4 million with the Seattle Seahawks. They gave Brandon Cooks 2 years, $13 million.
That's nothing, though. These days, it's nothing.
Well, I get that.
I know people like
the guy that solves your problems in Seattle making less money.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree they should have found a way to sign MVS back. They could have done both of them.
Right.
I mean, $4 million and $6.5 million, so $10 million for 2 different receivers, and they're going to go draft one. Whether it's in the first 3 rounds, to me, you probably have to draft a receiver up there in some kind of way. Whether it's Tedero, McMillan, or whatever. But look, Brandon Cooks is a veteran guy that can come in and to take. God, I hate being the one taking the Saints side so much. And we've been here for 20 minutes or whatever it is. I'm taking the Saints side like again. It's making me kind of ill. But they do need a veteran presence in there that can help these younger guys.
But a big guy.
Especially a Rashid Shaheed. Brandon Cooks has been, I'm not going to call him a possession receiver, but however, as he's gotten older, he's been a guy that has been not as afraid, let's just say, to take one across the middle if he has to. That doesn't.
Well, I mean, he's on the other side of 30, too.
I mean, Garland says they're going to draft Tyler Warren, so he can go across the middle.
He can. He even can throw the ball.
So there you go.
He passes the ball. He's throwing TD passes. They need something else. They need some. It can't just be Cedric Wilson is your big.
There's no way.
Yeah, and Cedric Wilson's more of a blocking wide receiver.
Anyway,
and if you go out,
he's on the team, right?
If you get a rookie, there's still growing pains there. I mean, again, especially playing that position where again you got to go up against safeties and linebackers going over the middle.
Yeah,
I mean, again, we'll move on to the next subject.
Bob Means.
I mean, I could hope. Right? I could hope, but
we can go back and watch those last 3 games again and watch Spencer Rattler to Bub Means. Felt like I was watching preseason in December and early January. We can do that.
Say a novena, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can tell you. We'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk LSU and Tulane football. We'll get into some college basketball, also college baseball. Talk about NIL and also the transfer portal. All that coming up here on Inside New Orleans Sports. Jim Derry, Garland, Gillen, our guest. I'm Eric Asher. Stay tuned.
Located at 3701 Iberville Street in Mid-City is Katie's Restaurant and Bar. Open 7 days a week, Katie's offers daily specials for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Serving New Orleans cuisine such as fried shrimp platters, grilled redfish, and a fully stocked bar. And don't forget about our expanded event seating and local entertainment. Featured on the Best of Food Network's diners, drive-ins, and dives, Katie's Restaurant and Bar.
Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration has been family-owned and operated since 1989. Burkhart has energy-efficient solutions and offers brands such as Mitsubishi ductless AC units and Amana, the only manufacturer with a lifetime unit replacement warranty. Burkhart's offers maintenance bundle packages that include servicing your AC, generator, and tankless water heater. For more information on the services Burkhart's provides, visit acpromise.com. Burkhart's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration, providing comfort for life.
Welcome back to Inside New Orleans Sports. I'm your host, Derry Asher. Garland, Gillen of Fox 8 Sports. Jim Derry of The Attitude Podcast and NOLA.com are our guests. Guys, let's start off with spring football. News hit today. Tulane quarterback T.J. Finley arrested. Possession of a stolen stolen car, but a stolen
Over 25.
over 25,000.
Yes.
Right? Is that what it was?
Yes, sir.
Over 25,000. You were at Tulane practice this morning. What can you tell us?
Yeah, well, when you go to practice and you notice there's not a 6'6" quarterback that's not there, you notice very quickly. Coach Summerall after practice said that it's a legal matter, can't talk about it. But the main part is that he's going to get his day to explain what happened. But he did get arrested. Fox 8 broke the story this morning. So it means Caden Samanza and Donovan Leary are now moving up. They're the 1 and 2 quarterbacks. There's 7 practices left, so TJ's missing valuable time. He's not going to be back with the team until this all gets cleared, which is going to, the wheels of justice can take a very long time. I mean, if you want to talk about the running back at LSU that is in Farmerville, he keeps going back and forth. That was like a year and a half ago. Yeah. The name escapes me, the running back. I forgot his name. He broke all the state records. But it takes a little while. So I was locked in on that. I was trying to do a story on Shaz Preston and a few others, but they wouldn't let us talk to any players after practice today. Yeah. So,
Jim, you know the family pretty good, huh? And T.J. Finley, your thoughts?
Yeah, I covered him growing up from the time he was a freshman to a senior. And look, I would ask let's not rush to judgment which is what we do. And I'm not just this media guy, this bleeding heart telling you I work for the media, he's telling you not rush to judgment. No, I'm serious. I've known this kid for a long time. I've known that he comes from a very strict family. His parents were very strict on him. He didn't even go to parties. I mean, his idea was fun on a Friday night was staying home playing video games when he wasn't playing football. So this is a kid that's had a lot of structure in his life, and I would say let's just don't rush to judgment, and let's find out what happened. It may take a little while to find out what happened, but I think there's probably a lot more there than you would automatically see, but someone who bought a stolen car.
Right. Immediately, people automatically think, okay, stolen car, quarterback, college, whatever. I think you need to let the process play out.
In the running back for LSU is Trey Holly.
There you go.
Trey Holly, that's been in the courts for a year and a half now. He's missed a lot of time at LSU. So.
But it doesn't help TJ as he moves on to, what is his fifth school now, and this is the last chance he's going to get. And so look, I think TJ from day one, his thought when he was first going to go to LSU and then he went to Auburn, and we talked before he went to Auburn, and I think he's always a kid who thought he had the ability to one day play in the NFL, and that dream starts to disappear. So now you're in a position to where you just hope you get one more chance of being able to start at, Tulane's a major D1 program,
absolutely.
So you hope you get one more opportunity to do so. And for TJ's sake and for the Finleys, I hope that he does get a chance to do that.
I was sitting on the radio show the other day, and I was telling Garland this before we went on the air, that again, the fact that he's been in college for so long, the fact that he's been with so many programs, the fact that he started so many games, that's got to be a plus for Tulane. Again, because he's seen a lot more than maybe the other quarterbacks on the roster, and you would hope that they would see the maturity on the field just because of the experience.
He's got the most experience. He's a 6'6" quarterback. All three of these quarterbacks have different skill sets. Caden Samanza is only 5'10", but he runs out of the pocket a lot. He was a starting quarterback at Ball State. And then Donovan Leary only threw 5 passes in his career at Illinois, but he has the best rocket arm. He's got the best arm. He just doesn't have the experience. So TJ was actually running like ahead of Simonza before this this incident happened. So I'm intrigued to see with 7 practices left if he's going to get back out there. This might go into the until summer workouts.
We know John Summerall isn't afraid of putting a quarterback in there that doesn't have experience. So I mean that tells you right there that TJ getting behind the 8 ball, I guess to say, really does hurt him. It's not like where he may have an upper hand. He may have been even already. And so, I mean, if you're in a spot that's even and you're going to miss the rest of spring practice, it definitely doesn't help you. But his physical skills, I think, are going to give him a chance when he finally does come back. And look, there's another instance. I mean, this kid was an honor student in Ponchatoula. He's been a fantastic student his entire life because his parents, again, while other kids were out doing whatever they do on the weekends, TJ Finley was home either playing video games or studying for some big test that was coming up on Monday, because that's what he did. So,
I mentioned this on the radio show maybe a week or so ago. Looking at the depth chart at Tulane and looking at, again, what Coach Summerall's had to deal with his 2 years at Tulane, the turnover on the roster because of the transfer portal. If you look at, again, the color-coded depth charts now, it's amazing how many new players he's got to deal with again in year 2.
Yeah, the only starters returning on offense are the left tackle and the left guard. That's it.
That's crazy.
And then on defense, he had 3 or 4 starters, but then Rayshawn Pleasant is now sat out, and he's going to transfer, and he didn't even get out there, and he was starting last year. So, yeah, you're flipping this roster every year. And Tulane has a healthy NIL, but they don't have the NILs of like the SEC schools do. So if anybody like a Darian Mensah pops again, or Mekhi Hughes, this is just the way it's going to be. They're gonna go and chase big time money. I think Mekhi Hughes got like $850,000. I don't buy Darian Mensah got $4 million. I probably think it was more around like 2 or 3, but still, that's a lot. That's way more than what Tulane was offering. Yeah. So I think Tulane, you hope you get a good roster that you paid for, and they can maybe get into the college football playoff. But after that run, you're probably going to lose a few of those guys. And John Summerall, sooner or later, is going to be fed up with this and make a move. And it almost happened this offseason. I mean, North Carolina was a real possibility.
Well, that's where I was going next. If you're John Summerall and you have another really good season and the big boys come a-calling, yes, you have to deal with the transfer portal again when you talk about some of the bigger teams in some of the top conferences. But it's not like Tulane, where, again, as soon as you get a guy, you start to develop him, they're getting taken away by a big school.
Yeah, Darian Mensah, John Summerall put a lot of faith in that kid. He wasn't even talked about as going for the quarterback. It was between Ty Thompson and Kai Horton all spring and into the fall drills, and all of a sudden Darian Mensah was just dealing all fall. And you lose him. I mean, you start banking that's going to be your offense, be your quarterback, your running back for a few years, and then Mensah's gone, chase the money. Sure enough, they're going to be back here in week 3 of the regular season. Duke is at Tulane. The same day, Florida's at LSU. I am praying that Tulane is at 11 a.m. and Florida LSU is like at 7 at night, because I really want to see both those games in person, because there's a lot of different dynamics in both those games.
Look,
take on Summerall?
When John Summerall came here, I don't think any reasonable Tulane fan or college football fan expected him to be here longer than, let's say, 3 years.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so, I mean, to talk about him potentially leaving, why would anyone be surprised? Why would John Summerall be surprised that players would, now, Mensah kind of surprised me a little bit, because I thought there would be some sort of loyalty of, you're the one who brought me here, I can make this money again next year, I'll come back and we'll run this back once. So maybe that surprised me a little bit, but in the end, the almighty dollar wins more times than it doesn't. However, look, this is what the NCAA is now. They've always talked about their BS about propping up the mid-majors. They don't care about the mid-majors. All this is they let themselves get in this hole, and now NIL, what's it going to do? It's going to hurt most the mid-majors. That's why there's only really, in the grand scheme of things, there's the SEC and there's the Big Ten, and maybe a little bit, to some extent, a little tiny bit, the ACC and the Big 12, but it's really the Big 2, and then there's the middle 2, and then there's everybody else. I mean, and that's what it is when it comes to football, and it's a shame that it is that way, but John Summerall is not going to stay here in New Orleans much longer.
Let's stay with this topic for a moment, because I wanted to talk about this today anyway. NIL transfer portal, the lack of regulations on both. We see. I don't have a problem with paying players. I don't have a problem with the transfer portal. I'd like to see, again, one free transfer, and then after that, unless you're a graduate, then you can transfer as many times as you want if you've got eligibility left. But again, the one thing that really just irks me is opening up the transfer portal before the championships are finished in a particular sport. It makes no sense. We saw how much it hurt Tulane basketball. We've seen again it hurt again other programs in football, basketball, baseball. That makes no sense.
No, you're just renting these kids for 1 year.
Right.
And the craziest thing, and I've seen it at Tulane, they would lose guys that they were trying to get out of the transfer portal. They were taking backup money, a backup role, and taking like $20,000 more than to go to Tulane to be a starter. I think that's absolutely insane. Like that shows you're just in it for the money. You do not care about playing, getting on the field. And I mean, if it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, I understand. But when we're talking about like $20,000, $25,000, that's really hard to be a backup role. I don't even know if these guys really care about if they make it to the NFL. They just want to make that money in college and kind of set themselves up. Every year, Ron Hunter's having to flip his roster.
Right.
Every year, John Summerall has to flip his roster. This is the way it's going to be. I mean, Brian Kelly, they had a lot of swings and misses last year in the portal. So they put the money up and crushed it this year in the portal and had the #1 class.
Yeah.
What's it going to change? What's it going to change in the grand scheme of things if you change the date of the portal, of opening the portal? I'm mixed feelings on this, and look, I'm with you guys. I understand, but when it comes to common sense, look, these kids, we went from one extreme to the other. We weren't letting them do anything, and now you can do whatever the hell you want. And I think is there a happy medium? Maybe, but I don't think we're ever going to find it. So we can complain all we want. I just don't think it's going to change. And if it does change, it's not going to be a big change.
Maybe get rid of the spring portal.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I talked to some coaches today, high school coaches, and they said they would love to get rid of the spring portal. Just have one portal in December, and then that's it.
Yeah. You've seen LSU spring practice. Your thoughts on the Tigers?
I've been asked numerous times, like, is LSU going to be a winner this year? And I told them there's one thing has to happen: the offensive line. The offensive line, they're moving all these guys different places.
It's like every other level in football.
Yeah, this is it, because they paid a lot of money for these wide receivers. Though Nick Anderson has been kind of a disappointment so far. He's been injured. He's the one they got out of Oklahoma.
He was injured at Oklahoma, wasn't he?
Yes. He's a speedster. Berrien Brown has looked good. There was questions about his route running ability when he left Kentucky to come to LSU. Now, Aaron Anderson looks strong. So does Chris Hilton. Xavion Thomas out of John Ehret. Destin Hill out of Edna Carr. Those are guys that are definitely popping here in the first few weeks of training camp, or spring ball. So I like the receivers. I think they might have to pick up a running back in the portal. I think Caden Durham is your workhorse. Harlan Berry from St. Martin's is, I think, already passing up Caleb Jackson. They might force Caleb Jackson to go in the portal. Tell him he put on a lot of weight. He's up to 235.
John Emory coming back again? I'm kidding.
John, boy, the day that popped, the next afternoon, Brian Kelly was asked. He said, "I'm out. No John Emory Jr. That is over with. This is gonna be his 7th year eligibility. They're out on John Emory. I like the defense. I like the guys they picked at a cornerback. I think they maybe have to pick up a guy at safety. But getting back to the main point, offensive line is where it's all going to happen. There's only one returning starter. It's DJ Chester. Right now they're working him at center, and then Braylon Moore, who they got at Virginia Tech, that's his main position, center.
Right.
So they've kind of been moving those two guys in and out. DJ Chester maybe might work at guard. You got Tyree Adams, a left tackle from St. Aug. And then on the right side of the line, they are moving a lot of guys on the right side of the line to get that right crew.
Yeah. Well, you got a quarterback. Can he be the 3rd straight LSU quarterback to have a junior season where no one really talks about, and then comes out of nowhere and becomes this top of the 1st round draft pick?
He's set up for it.
He is set up, and his dad's only living 80 miles away now, and I think LSU is a very intriguing story, because I think if we talk, and we may talk about this today, who knows? But if you talk about LSU where they are win-wise, I mean, it wouldn't shock anyone, I don't think, if they were an 8 or 9 win team, and then we're talking about Brian Kelly maybe departing, and I don't think it would surprise anyone if they won 11 and 12 or in the playoffs. I mean, so that's kind of where we are with LSU. They're a complete mystery. They could be one of the best teams in college football, and I think they probably will be. Where would you think they would be ranked? Where you're an AP voter. Where would you?
I think this LSU-Clemson matchup in Week 1 is going to be a top 10 game. I think ABC is going to pick it up. It's going to be in prime time on that Saturday night. Kay Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier are two of the big-time quarterbacks. They're up for the Heisman Trophy. Like they're in the odds for that. They're possible first-round picks in the NFL draft. The day that Klubnik said he was coming back, I said, LSU's in trouble. LSU's a 2.5-point dog in that game right now. I know it's been well publicized. They haven't won an opener since 2019, but that was the last time they played a team that wasn't like good. They played Georgia Southern. Yeah. I mean, you go on from 2020 where they played Mississippi State, 2021 UCLA. You had Florida State 2 years in a row, and then you had USC.
Let's talk a little bit about college basketball, and I want to talk about the LSU Lady Tigers losing to UCLA in the Elite Eight, 31-6 on the season. A lot of questions on, again, whether Flau'jae Johnson will come back. Again, we know that Samaya Smith is into the transfer portal. We also know that Kim Mulkey does a great job in the transfer portal. The future of the program, in your opinion?
Well, they got their draft class coming in, their signing class coming in is all 5 stars. There's 4 of them, so they're loaded coming in.
Class, I like that.
Well, it almost is like
it is now.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is now.
And speaking of the draft, nice little move there. I talked about this on Overtime the other night. Woman out of Notre Dame who's going to go in the top 3 of the WNBA draft. Right. She is foregoing the WNBA draft and going to the transfer portal to make NIL money. The reason I bring that up is Flau'jae Johnson has like 10 different NIL deals right now. She, by her estimation, is making about $4.5 million a year in NIL at LSU.
More money than she's making in WNBA.
Right.
Exactly. Caitlin Clark. Now I know Caitlin Clark has a motherload of ads out there, but she's making $78,000 a year in the WNBA. She's one of the highest paid players that is in their first rookie contracts. I think it would behoove Flau'jae to stay one more year at LSU. Make all those NIL deals. I mean, she was in a lot of the Final Four and NCAA tournament men's commercials there.
The Experian or whatever.
Yep. That's one of her big ones.
And I kept saying it over and over, at least 2 or 3 times per game. I see Flau'jae Johnson.
So I think Flau'jae should stay. Now, yes, it hurts they lost Samaya Smith. I know that the leading scorer in America that came into the first round game and smoked them, Florida State's lady, she is in the portal.
Right.
I think they're going to throw more money into the portal again. We talked about it overtime today. Was this season a failure? Yes. It's to the point now where it's Kim Mulkey, it's national championship or bust. Elite Eight is not good enough.
I agree. Your thoughts?
That's absurd.
What?
I mean, anytime you say it's national championship, what is this? Gino Auriemma of the 1990s?
No.
I mean,
LSU.
That is the expectation.
Same pressure you put on Brian Kelly every. I mean, it's national championship or bust. I mean, that's kind of
I put at LSU. There's 2 coaches that I put national championship or bust. Kim Mulkey and Jay Johnson.
I was going to say, what about Jay Johnson?
Yeah, he's the other one. Like for
so
LSU.
if LSU goes to the College World Series and they lose a heartbreaker right before they get to the championship, that's a bust?
Well, they spent a lot of money this year. They've been number 1. What are they, 28?
I don't know. My thing on Flau'jae is I think I'm all about listening to where you can read through the lines. I mean, I'm a poker player, and you listen. You listen as much as you watch, okay? And so listening and reading through the lines, I agree with everything that y'all said, and I think it makes probably more sense for her to come back, but maybe she can make those same dollars in the WNBA with whatever NIL she makes in the WNBA. Joe, all kidding aside. The sound was from Kim Mulkey, and what I heard was, and the tone was that she's not coming back. So that's what I heard. Now, does that mean that can't change? You rest, you take a couple weeks off, you think about it, and you go through your paperwork, and your agent says, hey there, Flo, you're going to make $4.5 million going back to college. You're only going to make $2.5 million if you go to the WNBA. Maybe, but there's also a chance to become there's a lot involved. I'm just saying right now, I think the sentiment, it sounds like the sentiment as she goes to the WNBA.
If she stays, is she having an opportunity to maybe, again, if she's healthy, to get a better draft pick next year?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
You don't have to talk me into what I think she should do. I'm just telling you what I'm interpreting the words that I've heard.
And I think she comes back because nobody walks away from $4.5 million.
No, and she's very close to Angel Reese. And Angel Reese has complained openly about how bad the salaries are.
Complains about everything.
Yeah, well,
She doesn't know what she
but
had for dinner
she has the ear of Flau'jae Johnson. So
Let's talk some Pels. Yes, we have to. 21
Hold
and
on, there's
55.
whiskey under here somewhere.
Yeah. Everybody take a shot. 21 and 55. Again, lose to the Clippers last night. Lakers on Friday as
Fox
Garland
8,
said, on Fox
9:30.
The big question is, what do you do with Zion at the end of the season now?
Oh, you're keeping him, man. Come on,
man.
You got to keep him. I know he's missed more games than he's played.
Well, you put it out on social media. I pulled a lot of the stuff you put on social media in terms of the games.
Yeah. He's
The
missed.
Fox 8 guy's going, please, for the love of God, please don't trade Zion.
I got
He's
you
on
covered.
Fox 8.
214 games. The Pelicans missed 258. That's what you put out on social media.
No. The numbers are the numbers. I think they're going to run it back again with Zion. I think they want to see one more time. One more time. Sooner or later, he's going to be healthy, right? Everybody remembers finally in the bubble in 2020, Anthony Davis finally got healthy for one season, and they won it all. I'm not saying if Zion's healthy, they're going to win. We almost got there last year. He played 65 games in the regular season, and then he got hurt right before the playoffs.
You know what this reminds me of, Eric? Back when I think I was like 21 or 22 and going out with that great girl, and she's like, I think we should break. I'm like, just one more date, one more dinner. We could go to a better movie than that. I know Ghost suck. Patrick Swayze's a terrible actor. I get it. Just one more movie, one more date, and it'll work out. I promise this time. Please.
I think, again, when you look what he did this season, you look at, again, the numbers were incredible. 24 points, 6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds per game, 5.3 assists a game, 56% field goal percentage. He has never been a hotter commodity. He's lost his weight. He looks like he's matured. If you were ever going to trade the guy, you trade him now.
What would they get for him, though? Out of curiosity, Garland, you would know this probably. What could you get for Zion?
Well,
so all that I said to me leading.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
So my opinion is, after all I just said, I think they probably should stick with Zion, only because I don't think they would get the value back.
Maybe like 25 cents on the dollar right now.
Do you think that they would at 25 cents on the dollar right now? You don't think, again, based on what he did this year, that they might get a better deal?
Well, first off, I need to know who the coach is of his team.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I don't think he's back. Do you?
I don't. I think
I don't think Willie Green's back. You do?
Okay.
I do think he's back.
And why?
I think they're going to give him one more season
because of the injuries.
If he were an older coach, where nothing else is going to happen, and I think David Griffin and Mickey Loomis and company and all that and Miss Benson would be willing to move on from a Stan Van Gundy. We only give him 1 year type of thing. However, you're talking about a young coach who, if you go back and remember after that first year, this is the brightest young mind in basketball. Now he sucks. I mean, I think that this team is loyal to.
It's not a question of suck.
This organization is loyal to a fault among. It's not just the football.
But is the message stale?
You're asking me what I think they're going to do, and I think they're going to stick.
Right.
I think they're going to.
See, that's the only question. It's not a question whether they can coach or not. Because in the NBA, they turn coaches over all the time. Has the message gotten stale? That's all.
Well, I mean, maybe the message has gotten stale, but I mean, who's he playing with? And I'm not making excuses because I don't think there's any excuse for what the Pelicans have put on the court this year, and I'm not excusing
who's
Green. I'm
responsible for
not
that?
excusing David Griffin. I'm not excusing any of them. However, that being said, you're asking me what I think they're going to do, and I think they're going to run it back.
Carl?
I mean, a new slate.
I said last year I thought they were going to run it back with Dennis Allen, whether they should or shouldn't. I said they absolutely shouldn't. I'm not even saying shouldn't with Willie Green because I'm on the fence. I just think that the way this organization operates, if it's 50-50, if it's on the line, if it's what and what, they're going to stick with status quo.
I think the fans deserve like one more reboot. They got a possible top 5 pick. They're kind of messed that up, beating the Timberwolves on the road, and then they beat the Hornets, who are also tanking.
But I can't fault it. You're playing with guys that are backups in G League players.
I'm not hating. I'm just saying
they're trying to show other teams that they can play in the NBA. So yes, they're going to try to win.
The day that DeJounte Murray got hurt before Halloween, the season was over, in my opinion.
He got hurt in game 1.
You knew Brandon Ingram wasn't going to play, and Zion was going to do his typical I'm going to play 30 games this year, and it is what it is. And is that Willie Green's fault? Absolutely not.
Right.
So, again, I'm not excusing him for winning 21 games or whatever it is as we go into the last week and a half, 2 weeks of the season. However, when you lose the guy that you gave all your capital up for and say, this is the guy that's going to come in and change things, and you lose him in day one, which means your 3 big guys, if you exclude CJ, the 3 of your 4 guys aren't going to be there for – one's not going to be there the whole year. The other one is going to be probably traded, ended up being traded, and it's going to get hurt and is hurt, whatever. And then the other guy's going to do what he always does. And when when the ship's sinking, you just sit him on the bench or you let him go play his video games. And that's what they did. And I just don't think that's Willie's fault.
Utah 16 wins, Washington 17 wins, Charlotte 19 wins. Again, the Pelicans 21 wins, and Philly 23 wins. The Pelicans are in the mix there. We'll see again how the ping pong balls fall out. Guys, I do want to get into baseball with the last bit of time that we have on the show.
Oh, not that.
Oh, not that baseball.
Oh, okay.
Not the torpedo bats. The other ones. LSU 27-3, 7-2 in the SEC at Oklahoma Thursday, Friday, Saturday this weekend. UNO 15-12, 7-8. They're at McNeese. Tulane is 18-12, 2-4. They got Rice after beating Northwestern last night. How good is LSU?
They are one of the best teams in the country. I know that Tennessee is number 1. We're going to find out a lot about them this week in Oklahoma. 8 of the 10 in the rankings, top 10, are from the SEC. Like, this thing is absolutely stacked. Right now, the projections has them as a national 8 seed, which is huge. That means you got to go through Baton Rouge to get to Omaha. I like their Friday night starter. I'm still Chase Shores has been kind of bumpy. Ianson on Saturday. I'm still trying to figure that out. Their bullpen's the scariest thing right now. Yeah.
Iffy.
Yeah, bullpen's iffy.
Very
That's a big. You can only rely on 2 guys in the bullpen. I'm waiting on Gavin Guidry to come back. That's going to be key when he gets back there. But I love their hitting. They can knock the daylights out of the ball. They got dudes up and down the lineup. So no, as I stated earlier with Kim Mulkey, with this team, it is championship or bust. I mean, if you don't even make it to Omaha, that is a really disappointing season. Still disappointing if they don't get there and don't win it all.
One thing though with LSU is you just look at Jay Johnson and you feel like this team's going. Like you just look at that dude for like 30 seconds. Like, I got total confidence in Jay Johnson, and I have total confidence in this team. Everything Garland said I think is true. Gorilla is back.
Right.
They can pound the baseball. They can fly. They can run around. I think they play really solid defense as well. And I'm with them on Cade Anderson being a great Friday night starter. The St. Paul. I watched him. I covered him in high school. Was a lights out pitcher in high school, and is turning into that in college. The bullpen's got to be better though. When you're talking about playing, you build your program to play long series and multiple games and multiple days. And is LSU built to do that? We're going to find out, because they went to Texas and Cade Anderson and played well, and that was great. And they were 21-1, and they win. They're 22-1, and then they can't win the next 2 games against a team that's like them, right? So again, that was on the road, and you can't take too much out of March baseball.
Agreed.
But I don't think they're the best team in the country right now. They need a little work to get there, but I do think that they are certainly a national championship contender.
Southland looks like a pretty good baseball conference again. 1-bid league, but again, SLU looking pretty good. UNO, your thoughts on the Southland?
Yeah, Southeastern is at 3rd right now. I think Rio Grande Valley is ahead of them. I think Houston Baptist is in the 1 hole. Southeastern can mash it. I know they run the scoreboard up. They got quality bats up and down. UNO, there's just no momentum in any sport over there.
LSU and
yeah, it's been rough for them. And Nichols has not been in the mix that much either. If I was going to pick, like right now in the D1 baseball projections, there's only 1 team from Louisiana getting in, LSU.
Right.
So Tulane is going to have to win their conference for the 3rd year in a row to get in. If Southeastern wants in, they're going to have to win the Southland Conference, which is not easy. So that's the path for all these schools in Louisiana except for LSU.
Can Tulane?
Tulane's going to find a way to go.
I was going to ask you that
The
because
3rd year in a row. I like it.
They seem to catch fire toward the end of the season
I like the way they played early on. Obviously, they've been in a little lull, and 2-4 in the AAC doesn't work. But I think this team has talent, and I was very impressed by what I saw earlier in the year. They need to get back to that. So I think they'll find a way. to get in UNO. Look, my heart hurts for UNO. As someone who spent a lot of time in my college career, my wife says I should be a doctor as much time I've spent in college, but it hurts my heart to see what's going on at UNO. I just don't see them getting if they're mediocre, that's really good, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because it didn't used to be like that, and I don't see anything getting better there.
Yeah. Matt Mann, transfer portal so far. You like what he's doing?
I mean, they got one of the top classes. They're going all in on this 1 year. They're going to give Matt McMahon all the resources he wants, and if this thing fails, then Matt McMahon's out. So they're picking off guys from Northeastern and UNLV and Mississippi State.
Right.
It's galvanizing the fans right now, getting them excited. So this is it. He gets one more chance. A lot of teams, 14 out of 16 in the SEC made it last year. So you can flip that thing very quickly.
How about Ron Hunt? Ron at Tulane. You think?
I mean, look, he keeps doing things that he's not supposed to do. I mean, and look, it's not. He's having a hard time taking that next leap. The heartbreaking loss to Memphis and still kind of stings, right? Because if they win that game, who knows what happens in the championship?
It just hurts so much again to bring in these young guys again and then have them just snatched away by bigger programs. And again,
but that's the same thing, and really in football too, right? I mean, it's not going to be
across the board. It's not going to change.
One of Duke's star players is a Tulane transfer.
Sion James.
Yep.
Right.
And I think they're losing another one to Duke this coming year. So that's just the way it is.
Yep. No doubt about it. Garland, one more time, tell us about all the great programming at Fox 8, what you got coming up for us? Yeah,
Final Bet on Thursday night. We're going to talk a lot of gambling, and then Sunday night on Final Play, we're gonna recap it all, and we're in the middle of like spring football right now at LSU and Tulane. Saints draft. Sean Fazan's going to delve into that. He did his mock draft 1.0. So football never stops at Fox 8.
And the podcast?
Attitude Podcast. We're rolling every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday live at 11 a.m. You can find us on YouTube. And we're doing a live for the third year in a row, and I think for the fourth time overall, we are doing a live NFL draft show where we come on before the first pick of the draft, and we're on until the last pick is made. All 32 picks.
Whoa.
We're on live for 5.5 hours.
Woo!
Zach Ewing and I.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of talking.
There's a lot of talking.
Hey, I'm a windbag, so they say. At least my wife says so. That will also be on the Datitude channel.
And you can catch both these guys on the Final Bet again tonight on Fox 8.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. So again, guys, thanks for coming down. Always good to have you two guys together. It's always fun. Appreciate your time today
Just
as
fix
well.
my chair next time.
Yeah, we will. We're gonna get you the big chair.
Okay.
You get this chair.
All right,
Okay,
cool.
how's that? You got the big chair. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, so many ways to catch our program now. There's a QR code on your screen, which will take you to the WLAE-TV YouTube channel, also to my website, ericasher.com. Again, between WLAE-TV, WLAE-TV 2, Pelican Sports Television, set your DVR. You'll never miss the program. And if you can't set the DVR, again, check us out online, again, at the WLAE-TV YouTube channel. You can catch me on the radio, 106.7 The Ticket. Again, we have moved down the dial. So again, check us out. Again, local sports talk starting from 2 o'clock all the way to 7 p.m. at night. Fox Sports Radio. And of course, again, always great guests. My show, again, 4 to 6 weekdays. Again, you listen live at ericasher.com. Also, again, 106.7 The Ticket app. Or an iHeartRadio app, TuneIn Radio app, again, with plenty of ways to catch us there as well. And of course, again, the 100,000-watt signal of 106.7 The Ticket, catching again the entire metropolitan area, Mississippi, the Bayou. We got you covered with, again, 106.7 The Ticket. Also, again, want to thank the underwriters who make our show possible. Please support the underwriters. We thank each and every one of those underwriters, and of course, the folks here at WLAE-TV who produce our program. Ron Yeager, Jim Dotson, Alice Jacone, best director on the planet, William Hill. For Jim Derry, for Garland Gillen, I'm Eric Asher. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week for another edition of Inside New Orleans Sports.